So here in front of me, I have a Morus Alba, or a white mulberry. Morus Albas are very common sort of feral trees, so to speak, here in Central Florida. You'll find them. This is the common type of mulberry that you will see growing on roadsides, or in this case, along a ditch bank here in my near my office. A lot of times this is confused with a red mulberry. I did another video showing what a real red mulberry, Morus rubra, looks like. You can see what this foliage looks like. You know, in all essential features, it's similar to Morus rubra, but it's shiny. It tends to be pretty shiny and thin. The leaves overall are kind of thin. They don't have any of that like fuzziness on the underside of the leaf is not present. And they also, they're not as regularly lobed as the red mulberry leaves are. They will get lobed, but they give like smaller lobes. Like here's one over here that has a little lobe on it. You can see that lobe like that. It's pretty small compared to, they can be more deeply lobed, but they're less commonly so than red mulberry. So Morus Alba, again, a lot of times will grow in disturbed, like the edges of canals, ruderal areas. It is, again, it's not native to Florida or the United States. I think this species is actually indigenous to like somewhere in the European continent, but I'm not 100% sure on that. You can see this tree's not all that big. It's probably only 3 inches in diameter at the base, but you can see it's got a lot of fruit setting on it. And the Morus Alba is the variety that most of the cultivated varieties of mulberries that we grow here in Florida and the Southeast are Morus Albas, or they're hybrids between Morus Alba and Morus rubra, you know, that have been selected for taste and berry production, etc. So a lot of these like wild ones, some of them you'll find actually taste quite good, but a lot of them, you know, they're edible, but they don't taste great. You know, I suppose that the tree would have a use for livestock feed and for leaves. Morus Alba grows readily from cuttings. You know, once the trees are done fruiting, you can take a pretty thick piece of wood, maybe as big as my thumb or as big as a pencil, of, you know, this woody stuff here, and it roots really easily. Morus rubra or Alba roots really easy as compared to Morus rubra, which is actually, it's hard to root. I have very low success rate with the real Morus rubra in terms of rooting cuttings from that species, but these Morus Alba will root readily, and they're precocious. Like this tree here, this tree's only, I mean, this little one, I don't know, it's maybe a half an inch in diameter at most, and it's fruiting. So this is a really young plant, and it's got fruit on it already. You know, seedling from this one here. So, you know, I could see that they could have a use, like if you were trying to cross-pollinate mulberries and then, you know, make a new variety. Certainly, some of these wild ones would be, I think, useful for that. Or again, like animal fodder, but it's so easy to get good cultivated varieties to do such a thing that I'm not sure how much utility it would have. But I wanted to make this video really just to contrast and show what a Morus Alba looks like. These are much more common in Central Florida to find these. When you'll find them all over the place in the edges of parking lots and ponds and successional woody areas, you know, wooded areas, not even successional hardwoods, because you'll find them a lot of times in association next to like wetland margins and stuff like that. So again, Morus Alba, white mulberry. I still don't really know why they call them white mulberries, because they look the same as a red mulberry. The fruit do, and the Another way you can tell this species from a Morus rubra is by the buds. You know, the buds are real, like, see if I can get one on the camera here. The buds are like real round and like stubby. You can see there. They're like round and stubby, as opposed to the Morus rubra has like a long, like kind of ovate shaped bud like that, and it's on an angle to the stem, as opposed to the Morus Alba, which will be, you know, right parallel with the center line of the stem. So, you know, they get pretty big. Morus Alba will get big. Like, I've seen ones that are, you know, 24 inches in diameter or bigger. So they'll get to be good size, 30 feet tall or more, with a big spread, and they certainly attract a lot of birds, as good or better as just as good as a red mulberry. So, but I'd rather grow a red mulberry if I'm in my native landscape, and for my edible trees, I'm definitely growing Morus Alba hybrids. Like the Shangri-La here in Central Florida is one that's I like a lot, and I've got another variety that's Alba rubra hybrid that's unnamed that makes a really good berry. So yeah, Morus Alba, check it out.